Right now at 6, police move in to clear yet another Portland homeless camp.
Majority of the people here that were here are now in the back of the cop cars.
Why some ended up under arrest and how many apparently accepted a new offer and help to get clean. Plus,
it would be really heartbreaking for that to happen.
An entire Oregon school district at risk of shutting down. Why its last hope has already failed 8 times, and some say the alternative is worse. And later,
finding something like this is actually pretty rare.
Where a woman walking down the beach discovered what's left of an unusual creature more than 20 million years old.
Thanks for joining us. I'm David Molko. Our top story this evening, a former Portland Trailblazer is now under arrest and accused of rape. Ben McLemore was arraigned this afternoon in Clackamas County. Catherine Cook joins us in the newsroom with what we know about this case so far. Catherine?
David, this case goes back to the fall of 2021. That's when Ben McLemore played for the Trailblazers. It took police more than 3 years to get to this point, in part, they say, because McLemore moved out of state and traveled overseas so much, delaying their investigation. He currently plays pro basketball for a team in Spain. McLemore appeared in Clackamas County Court via video this afternoon. He said very little. The 31-year-old is charged with first-degree rape, first-degree unlawful sexual penetration, and 2 counts of second-degree sexual abuse. The U.S. Marshals arrested McLemore yesterday morning at PDX on an outstanding felony warrant. Court documents suggest the victim in this case was incapable of consent because of mental and physical limitations. Lake Oswego police tell us the charges stem from a reported sexual assault there that happened on October 3rd, 2021. That same day, when the crime was reported, police say they collected available evidence and connected the survivor with a victim's advocate. In February, a Clackamas County grand jury heard evidence in the case and issued an indictment against McLemore. Today, the judge ordered him to have no contact with the victim and set bail at $500,000. She also signed an order authorizing McLemore to travel. Again, he's currently playing basketball for a team in Spain. McLemore is due back in court July 1st. David.
Catherine Cook in the newsroom. Thank you, Catherine. In your headlines tonight, Portland police have arrested 8 people on outstanding warrants after they raided a homeless camp this morning on the edge of downtown. This was at the corner of Burnside and 15th. Afterward, outreach workers asked campers who were left if they wanted to be taken to detox or housing services that help people get sober. Our team at the scene saw only 1 person out of roughly 10 there who expressed any interest.
I think that there's a strong addiction. Fentanyl is powerful, it's harmful, it's killing people, and they're scared of detox.
Like this is my whole home, everything, you know, and like now it's just gonna boom. Like they wonder why we're all out here and why it's so hard to transition and stuff. Like housing is so important.
Well, these efforts are part of an expanded program that pairs outreach workers with police officers. The governor calling that a, quote, way to break the mold, end quote, during Portland's 90-day fentanyl state of emergency, which is set to end later this month. In Gresham, the 15-year-old accused of hitting a man in the head with a skateboard has now turned himself in to police. Officers say Sunday evening, 58-year-old Terry Poulter was assaulted by a group of teens. Surveillance video showing the attack in downtown Gresham and police asking for the public's help identifying what appeared to be the, quote, primary suspect. The teen was with his parents when he turned himself in. He is now booked into a juvenile detention home facing a charge of second-degree assault. In Northeast Portland, Fire and Rescue says a person died in their backyard while trying to remove a large tree stump. Officials say the victim was trying to get a 1,200-pound stump out of the ground on Tuesday. That is when their safety equipment failed and the stump fell on top of them. Firefighters set up what they call a high-angle rope system to lift that stump and retrieve the person's body. In Longview, a quick-thinking bystander who called for help along with a fast response from rescuers may have saved a man from drowning. This photo shows fire crews pulling the man from a slough near 36th and Oak Street Tuesday morning. The victim was suffering from hypothermia and exhaustion. No word on how or why they fell in. The Longview Fire Department says after the call came in, it took them less than 3 minutes to get to that scene. And Oregon State Fire Marshal is getting agencies geared up for fire season. $6 million in grant money will be divided among fire departments across the state. The money will help even the smallest agencies add staff during the busiest part of wildfire season so they can respond quickly and hopefully keep fires from spreading. Matt?
Thanks, David. We've got a little bit of rain in the forecast, but really a lot more of this than wet weather. This is Newport, of course, right now. Some scattered high clouds, and even those are beginning to thin out yet again. 53 at Newport. The clouds will increase late tonight and tomorrow. This is the Reserve Golf Course sky cam. A little cloudier here, but again, it's all high level, a little bit of mid-level cloud cover, and we made the 60s today, well into the 60s, as you can see. Portland up to 67. Troutdale hit 68. And there were 70s on the map. We'll show you those a little bit later on. Coming up, nothing on Doppler radar here, but if I zoom out a bit, you can see there's a little bit of rain up off the coast of Vancouver Island, and that's an indication as to what's to come our way later tomorrow. Showers are coming back. Not a lot, though, and not for the weekend. We also have to talk about low snow levels yet again. Still April. David?
Thank you, Matt. Developing this evening, a small Oregon school district could be forced to shut down unless people who live there give the thumbs up to something they haven't done in nearly 25 years. Thomas Schultz joining us live at Jervis Elementary School. Thomas, we were talking about a bond measure that has failed 8 times. Where would the money go here?
Yeah, well, David, it'd be for infrastructure upgrades, and many of those upgrades would go to schools like the one behind us, which is almost 100 years old and is in desperate need of some infrastructure renovation. And the superintendent of the Jervis School District says that if the bond measure does not pass, then school board members will close the district. In the town of Jervis, population 2,500, life?
We don't want to go anywhere else. We love it here.
Revolves around school.
It means kind of the world. But
Christina Leimbach has 2 kids at Jervis Elementary in long family ties.
my husband's grandma came. She graduated in 1955.
And since 1955 and decades before, the school's hardly changed.
We need all new electrical panels.
And stagnation is catching up.
This radiator system is throughout the entire building, and so we've had to create these wooden barriers.
Jervis still uses radiator systems that could burn kids if not for these barriers.
Hello?
And for years, Superintendent Dandy Stevens has been trying to change that, and other things too.
This is the boiler room.
A boiler room that needs replacing.
And it is completely inefficient.
And roofs that leak.
So if you look up here, you can see this piece of plywood over the ceiling.
Or worse.
This was installed in an attempt to keep the roof off of the floor.
The problem? The district can't afford to fix structural issues unless they pass a bond measure, a measure that's failed 8 straight times. Though this time, implications are dire.
So if the bond doesn't pass, the school board is fully committed to moving forward with closure and consolidation.
Meaning 870 kids at Jervis would have to go to the surrounding 5 districts.
I can't imagine them anywhere else.
And Jervis hasn't been able to pass a bond since 1990 because many don't want to pay the additional tax, around $300 a year for the average home. Though if students are absorbed by other districts, residents would have to pay higher school taxes than the proposed bond.
So it would be really heartbreaking for that to happen.
And bad for staff, too.
It would mean that most of us will lose our jobs.
Jobs in schools at the heart of this small town.
This is Jervis.
Yeah, it sounds like this could go either way, Thomas, depending on what happens here. What's the timing looking like right now?
Yeah, well, David, voters will vote in this next several weeks. The deadline to get that vote in is May 21st. We'll obviously know what the decision is after that. Though if it's another no vote, a 9th straight time that they vote against giving the school district more funding, students would stay at Jervis until the end of the 2025 school year. After that, they would transition to 5 neighboring school districts. It's important to note, some of those school districts like Silverton and Salem-Keizer are cutting their own budgets because they have their own financial issues. David?
Yeah, another district, a lot of uncertainty. Thank you, Thomas. All right, April is Alcohol Awareness Month, and a new regional study is tying women who drink alcohol with developing heart disease. This study was done by Kaiser Permanente Northwest. It focused on data for more than 430,000 patients from age 18 to 65. It found that women who drank 8 or more alcoholic drinks a week had a 45% higher risk of developing heart disease. That's compared to women reporting moderate intake. Now, women that drank 3 to 7 drinks had a 29% higher risk of heart disease. Bottom line, doctors say women of any age are at risk for heart disease if they drink a lot of alcohol.
Alcohol is a known toxin for our bodies, and this is just another way that it is impacting our well-being. It's interesting that the metabolic changes associated with alcohol use are being seen to be impactful in younger and younger ages.
The study also found men with a high intake were 22% more likely to develop heart disease compared to men who had a moderate intake. This is one of the largest and most diverse studies to examine the links between alcohol and heart disease. In Washington, some new federal rules could cost water utility companies more than $1 billion. That is according to the state health department. It comes after the EPA, the Environmental Protection Agency, announced firm limits for what are known as forever chemicals in water. For 2 common types, those limits are now at 4 parts per trillion. For others, it is 10 parts per trillion. That basically means water utilities need to get the amounts down to close to nothing. The feds are now offering $1 billion in grants to help out across the country. It was likely some of those costs will get passed on to consumers. For some utilities, the next step really involves building specialized treatment facilities.
We have to deal with getting permits to be able to build this facility, and you can't just build it anywhere. It has to be near where the water source is. So it's very important that the significance of this is recognized and we can actually bring it to fruition.
The state health department says this will cost utilities roughly $1.6 billion. Straight ahead on KGW News at 6, marking the end of the Muslim Holy Month, why local leaders say this year the celebrations feel different. And a discovery 20 million years in the making, one woman's incredibly rare find along the Oregon coast. Plus, coming up on the story at 6:30, the case of the burn boss. He is a U.S. Forest Service firefighter who got arrested after a prescribed burn got out of control. But this is about more than just a single fire. How what plays out in court could impact fire season across the Northwest. That's tonight at 6:30, only on the story here on KGW.